Gang fam, that's Live Life 815.
Yo, what's good, Live Life family? It's your boy Live Life 815 coming at y'all again with another power video. Today, we about to be going over Power Book 2, Season 1, Episode 9, entitled Monster. Now, everybody been waiting on this episode, and it did not disappoint. Just before we get into the video, if you guys haven't, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Again, your boy gonna be leaving the Cash App somewhere in the video just to show some love if y'all feel like it, if y'all won't. But let's jump into the video. We start this episode off seeing your boy Kane chopping up the bodies and getting rid of the former GTG gang members with your boy Lil Guap. And I know a lot of people were saying like, hey, do you think you could trust Lil Guap after you just basically took out his whole crew? I'm going to go ahead and say no, because if y'all seen the way he was looking at Kane when they was getting rid of them bodies, it did not look like he enjoyed it. So I expect a double cross to be coming from Lil Guap sometime in the future. We then cut to Tariq. He's sleeping, gets woken up by the alarm clock. Or I think no, it's not the alarm clock. It's actually a text by 2-Bit saying, "Where's my money, man? It's 50,000 this time for saving you." We see Tariq hit up that secret stash, and we all know what's going on. We know your boy don't have enough to pay 2-Bit. Your boy is struggling for cash at this point. He then gets in touch with his lawyer, and he's like, "Look, do you think I could possibly pay you next week? Something came up with my grandma, and I gotta handle that." Now, being the skis that McLean is, you know, the dirty lawyer, he only looking out for himself, goes on to tell Tariq, "Sure, you can pay me next week. I'm a fair man. But in return, yeah, that expert witness that I had that was going to testify on your mom's behalf, she going to have to sit out." And Paul is looking at McLean like, "You didn't tell me about an expert witness that was supposed to be testifying." And she's kind of looking at McLean like, "Yo, I can't trust you." And he makes the statement like, "Hey, you know me. As long as I get mine, that's all I care about." And I really think Paula is starting to realize that and starting to see that he really only has his best interests at heart. He really doesn't care about anybody else. Next scene, we flash to Zeke and Carrie, and while he's asleep, she's looking at him, and she notices all the bruises over his back and all over his neck. And she keeps pressing Zeke like, "Yo, you can tell me what's going on. You know I'm putting my whole career on the line, basically, for us. I can't tell anybody." And Zeke, being naive like he is and whipped over Carrie, clapping them cheeks, he goes on to tell Carrie what happened the previous night, you know, the previous episode. And she stresses to him like, "Yo, you need to go to the cops." And he tells her like, "No, you don't go to the cops on these people." Fast forward to the next scene, we figure out why she was so adamant about Zeke going to the cops. Turns out Carrie used to be a former prosecutor. Now we know who Laz Alonso's character is, and he's playing a cop. And they're at the school trying to figure out what's going on, how this gang member died on campus, who killed him, and who was smart enough to make it look like an accident. Now, he goes off to say, "Oh, we need to start interviewing people of similar background, aka black people or minorities, however you want to put it." Carrie does not take too well to this, and they have a little dispute, but they ultimately come to the agreement that she should interview the students and see if she can find out any information. Now, that's when old Skis Jabari, jump at any opportunity Jabari, puts his bid in the hat to help Carrie figure out if any of these students know anything. Now, we all know from watching 8 previous episodes of Jabari doing shady things that it's a bigger motive behind him trying to help Carrie. 1, to get closer to Carrie. 2, to probably figure out who she's sleeping with. 3, to figure out if Tariq has anything to do with this. You know he has his own motives. You cannot trust that boy Jabari. Now, Tariq has a phone call with his mom, and she's pretty much telling him like, "Look, you need to slow down. One thing I do not need you doing is getting caught up in these streets. That would defeat the whole purpose on why I'm in here in the first place. And we need to be moving smart." Tariq then tells Tasha like, "Look, ma, I gotta do what I gotta do. Plus, McLean just told me that he has an expert witness to testify on your behalf. This is news to Tasha because she's like, if McLean got an expert witness to testify on my behalf, why don't I know about it? And why isn't he telling me about it? A lawyer is supposed to have open communication with their client, and she pretty much knows that he's hiding something. We then flash to the next scene, and we get to the theme of this episode. Tariq goes to class. They're discussing the book Frankenstein, and he asks the students in the class, how does this book reflect racial profiling? Now, Lauren goes on to say, in the book, people are scared of how Frankenstein looks, so they discriminate against him. Now, Jabari goes on to call her interpretation of the book remedial. That kind of gets under Lauren's skin. You can see that she's kind of hot and bothered about that. And then the over-the-top ghetto chick, I forgot what her name is, but she goes on to have a really good interpretation. She's like, look, white people brought us here, they sell our kids, and then when we rebel, we labeled as being the monsters, when they're the ones that's causing all of this. And she gets a little pushback from Lauren, but she says if people are set up to fail, they're just gonna fail. Of course, Lauren does not see it this way because, as we've been shown, she's very overprivileged. Lauren then makes the comment, well, not everyone fails. That's when another student suggests that she takes a look at the prison population, further proving how the system is set up to imprison minorities. Lauren then makes the comment, well, yes, while that is sad, let's not sit here and act like some of those people didn't make the choices to be sitting where they are. Some people deserve jail. And that kind of rubs Tariq the wrong way. He's like, what, like my mom? Because you have to realize what Tariq's going through deep down. Like, yeah, his family lives this life, and they were not as fortunate as Lauren's family. Now, you can't say, oh, they had money Tariq never really wanted for anything, but then at what cost? They were doing everything illegally. Now, they did make those choices, but when the system is set up for minorities to fail, you do what you have to do. And I think that was the whole gist of what they were trying to get across. Also, that shows Tariq like, yo, I can't really trust Lauren if she feel like these people deserve to be in jail, because then in turn she feel like I deserve to be in prison. I think that was a big wake-up call for Tariq, and I hope that he's smart enough to leave Lauren alone, man. She can't be trusted, Brody. But then we head over to the Tejadas, and they're having a discussion about what happened the previous episode. And that's when Monet's trying to get information on Carrie, and Diana, being a little snitch she is, we all know Diana a snitch, y'all. But being a little snitch she is, she's like, yo, I found something in Tariq's bag. I thought it was about him, but I'm kind of thinking it's about Zeke now. And if you remember last episode, the letter that Jabari put in Tariq's backpack stating that a professor at the campus was sleeping with a student. So, yeah, pretty sure your girl Monet know about Zeke and Carrie. That's how I'm going to start saying Carrie. We then fast forward to the next scene. Tasha is having a meeting with McLean and Paula, and she's like, yo, why didn't you tell me that you had an expert witness lined up? Now, he's trying to play everything smooth and play everything cool. He's like, look, I know what I'm doing. If it was in your best interest for you to know, I would have told you, right? I got your best interest at hand. Now, Tasha takes one good look at Paula and knows that she's covering and hiding something. She's covering for McLean and hiding something from Tasha. So Tasha presses Paula on that like, yo, like, you know that McLean isn't being straightforward with me or you. What are you getting out of your whole relationship with McLean? You messing with a married man. How long have you been waiting on him to leave his wife? And she pretty much comes to the realization that she's been being used just like everyone else that McLean has been using. Now, next scene, McLean and your boy Cooper Saxe, we figure out who their expert witness is, and it's none other than Epiphany Turner. Yes, the stripper, Epiphany Turner. Now, we all know Epiphany, she ain't no snitch. She really don't want to snitch. She don't want to do anything that's going to put Tasha in harm's way or her family. But she got caught slipping, selling some bricks. And they pretty much like, look, we can make this go away. All you got to do is just get on the stand and say what we need you to say. So she agrees to that, thinking that it's not going to hurt Tasha in any way. Now, this is where your boy Cooper Saxe, we all know that he is sleazy. He has somebody outside taking pictures and video of them pretty much meeting Epiphany Turner. Now, that's going to come into play later on in the episode, but he's pretty much setting up a contingency plan just in case he needs to use it against McLean. And it turns out that he will. We then go to the next scene and we finally see Tariq and Brayden kind of patch things up, but it's far from fixed. We see Brayden is still pissed off at Tariq for lying to him, and he's been lying to him pretty much the whole season. But he does let him know, look, I got all this coke that we need to sell. We know Brayden is with it, and Brayden has the wonderful, wonderful idea of doing it at Harvard because it's hot right now at their campus, and they cannot afford it. If they try to sell, they definitely gonna get popped off. Now, Tariq continues his trend of lying to Brayden, but it is smart, I must admit. He tells Brayden that Kane killed dude down there by the pool. Tariq is not trying to incriminate himself in any way. And that's where your boy's smarts come into play. Because a lot of people probably would have slipped up or probably would have thought, you know, I can trust Brayden with this. But Tariq is not trusting your boy Brayden with nothing. And you can say it's kind of smart because the less people know, the less you got to worry about it coming back to bite you. Next scene, we see Zeke in the kitchen with Monet. He's over at Monet's house. And Zeke's pretty much, you can see that he's terrified. He's pretty much telling Monet, like, look, the cops up at the school questioning kids. And if they question me, I might just have to tell them the truth. Now, we all know Monet is not going for that. She's like, no, you know not to ever speak on this family or what we do. Zeke then slips up and mentions Professor Milgram's name. And that's when Monet, being the smart woman that we know she is, she puts two and two together like, okay, time to take a trip to Miss Carrie. Time to scare Miss Carrie. Now, in the previous meeting with Tasha and Paula, she did tell her, catch up with Tariq. If McLean's doing anything behind our back, catch up with Tariq and tell him to treat Epiphany pretty much the way that he treated Slim. Now, we all know how that went down. So your boy Tariq has a lot on his mind. Him and Brayden are taking a walk to see Effie to give her her stuff back. And they pretty much have a talk. And he's like, look, you want me to be honest with you? Your girl Riley was an informant. Her uncle is Cooper Saxe. He's been trying to take down my family for years. And he's trying to help put my mom behind bars. He then shows Brayden a picture of Cooper. And he puts two and two together like, oh, snap. I seen a picture of this dude when I was over at Riley's house. So he now knows Tariq is not lying or BSing him about that. Now they get to Effie. And Effie's still kind of pissed off about what happened last episode. And she always knows that Tariq is not being 100% honest with her. So she able to call him out on his BS. But she lets him know, like, look, I accepted that I was a monster when I did what I did to you back then. The quicker you accept that you're a monster, the easier it'll be for you. Now, we see Tariq struggling with this because we know the things that he's done in his past, but I honestly believe Tariq wants to be better than that. He does not want to turn into that. But the question is it inevitable? Is it going to happen just because of how he was raised? And that's another theme that happens a lot during this episode. The parents turning their kids into monsters, because we see it later on with Monet and Kane. We then see Tariq show up at Epiphany's house, and he's ready to get the job done. You can see he's contemplating it. He really doesn't want to, but we know your boy Tariq's gonna do it if he has to. Now he's trying to press and get information out of what exactly Epiphany knows, and she lets slip like, yeah, you didn't tell me your lawyer was gonna be coming by. and he showed up with another lawyer. Tariq puts two and two together, like, was this lawyer tall, white guy? And he figures out that Coop and McLean are working together. Now, Tariq is still about to pop your girl Epiphany before she makes the statement that saves her life. She's like, I don't even want to do this. And if I just had the money, I would just leave. I would just run. And that's when your boy Tariq pulls a ghost move. I'm going to pay you off, baby. Just go ahead and take off. Go ahead and take that money and leave. And that's exactly what she does. And Epiphany, you saved your life with that statement, girl. So next scene, we see everybody in court. Coop and McLean, they're waiting on Epiphany to show up. Apparently, they've been waiting for a long time. We all know your girl ain't showing up. She done took that money and she has dipped. Tasha does not know what has happened, if Tariq actually killed her or what. So she's left in the blind, just like they are. But we all know your boy Tariq paid her off. Now, Coop asks to take a 10-minute recess, which the judge grants. We then see McLean and Coop in the bathroom, and Coop is like, yo, you set me up. Why did you screw me over? Now, McLean's trying to reassure him, like, look, I had nothing to do with this. Coop then lets him know, like, I seen Paula go back in and talk to Tasha. Like, what did you tell Paula to tell Tasha? McLean's like, I didn't tell her anything. But because of this, there's no going back from Cooper Sacks. He's going to do what he does, look out for himself. He tells McLean, like, look, since you screwed me, I got this evidence on you. As I mentioned earlier on in the recap, he had pictures taken of them at Epiphany's house trying to gain a witness. And that is when Tasha is left in shock and awe when Cooper Sacks summons Tariq to the witness stand. She then calls him and lets him know, like, look, I'm just letting you know you've been summoned to testify. So they're going to be serving you pretty soon. And at this point, I believe Tariq's just starting to give up. He's like, look, if it comes down to this, I'm ready to do what I got to do. All this has fallen on me. All this is my fault. So if I got to go testify, if I got to go tell the truth, I'm going to do what I got to do. But my mama is going to walk. Now, we see Tariq meet Monet, Diana, and Drew for the drop at the bar where they usually do the drop. And Tariq comes clean like, look, Monet, I'm short on your money. I don't have it. I had to do something for my mom. This is when Monet pulls a gun on Tariq. And she's like, look, you already know the consequences of messing with my money. Now, Diana and Drew are trying their hardest to calm Monet down. And she's not budging. And Tariq's like, look, y'all calm down, man. I know the consequences of my actions. I know what was going to come out of this. I done hurt too many people. And then we see a flashback of all the things that happened in the world of power that were pretty much directly Tariq's fault and how he's wronged people in the past. And then we go to a scene with Kane and Lil Guap, and this is happening at the exact same time that the scene with Tariq and Monet is happening. And Kane receives his drop and he gets it from Lil Guap, and he's like, yo, you taking my family's supply? And Lil Guap tells him, like, no, like, Rico gave this to me. And Kane, smart enough to put two and two together, he's like, look, if Rico gave you this, that means he trying to cut my family out the game. Now, how they cut the family out the game, you already know. You are no longer breathing. So your boy Kane trying to rush over to the drop. As we know, if you've seen the episode, I'm assuming you have if you watching this, he is too late. And in the middle of Tariq, Monet, Drew, and Diana's chaos, Rico start busting at the bar, and he's trying to air them out. As they start shooting, Tariq grabs Diana to take cover. Drew grabs Monet to take cover. And that's when Drew's like, look, I'm going to go get my gun and start busting back. Monet tries to stop him, but your boy Drew don't listen. He gets up and he gets shot. Now, as they take off, your boy Kane arrives just a little too late. As he walks in, he sees that Drew has already been shot. He rushes to his side. Monet put the gun to his head and say, why weren't you here? Now, he tries to reassure her, like, look, I tried to call you. I tried to tell you, but you weren't answering your phone. That's when Monet tells Kane, to take Drew to the hospital. They do, and outside of the hospital, they having a conversation where Monet pretty much tell Kane, like, look, get out of my face before I put the gun in your temple and pull the trigger myself. And she's pretty much going on saying, like, how can you do this? And that's when the theme that I was talking about earlier on in the recap about the parents making their kids into monsters, which is the title of the episode, because Kane, with tears in his eyes, says, Ma, you made me this way, as she's walking away from him and pretty much disowning him from the family, like for real this time. Now, we can see that Kane is kind of shaken up by this, and he makes a phone call and he tells somebody, like, look, we need to meet now. Turns out who he was on the phone with was Officer Ramirez, and they pretty much have a dispute about taking Tariq out. And this is where Officer Ramirez's mouth pretty much puts him in his coffin, because he goes on to say, with everything that's going on right now, even though Monet don't need you, she gonna need me, and you better get out of my face before I make a decision. Pretty much, right? Pretty much threatening Kane. We all know Kane is not the type that you want to threaten. So he acts like he's gonna back off Ramirez, like he's gonna leave. We all know that Kane ain't going out that easy. And that person we seen Kane punching at the end of the trailer for this episode, yeah, that was Officer Ramirez. So he punches him dead in the mouth. He all bloody, he a mess. He then picks up the gun, and Officer Ramirez is pleading for his life. Y'all really think Kane care after that man done had a gun on him? Not really. Kane air out the gun, air out Officer Ramirez, and leave him laying there on the ground. So your boy Officer Ramirez met his end this episode, y'all. Like a lot of people predicted that he would. A lot of people predicted he would not make it past the first season, and y'all were definitely right. So the next scene that we get to, we see Tariq meeting up with your girl Paula, and she's pretty much telling him everything that Cooper Saxe and McLean has on him and against him, and that they're planning to use it against him. She also tells him that McLean is no longer representing him and that Tariq's gonna need another lawyer. That's when your girl Tamika Harris comes in for the save, because if it's nobody that has a dislike for Cooper Saxe more, it is Tamika Harris. And she's slick with it. She tells Tariq, look, give me $1. Tariq gives her $1. She's like, congratulations, you just hired me. Anything you tell me, I have to hold it close to the chest and it will not get out. She then asks Tariq, did you kill your father? And this is the first time I believe Tariq has really confessed it to anybody. He tells her that he did, but not because he's a monster, because James St. Patrick was a monster. He tries to say that Ghost was a monster. She tells him, look, I know, and from here on out, I'm going to be representing you. Now the episode ends off with Tariq telling Tamika Harris, look, if they call me to the stand, I'm willing to confess. I'm willing to go down for this, because my mom is not going to go down for something that I did. He's willing to take responsibility. And that's how we close out this episode, y'all. So it leaves us on a big cliffhanger. What is going to happen? What's going to happen with McLean? What's going to happen with Saxe? We all know your boy Tariq is not going to jail. I believe I said it last recap I did. They're going to figure out how to pin this on Cooper Saxe. And y'all hear it here from your boy LiveLife 815. Y'all going to have to comment and say that I'm right when I get it right. I believe episode 10, your boy Cooper Saxe is going to be going down. He's going to end up behind bars. And I honestly believe Tasha's going to end up free. And so is Tariq. I don't believe we seen the last of 2-Bit. We probably going to see him next episode. And hopefully we get to see Tommy, man. Tommy, where you at? Where you at? Also, what's going to happen with your boy Kane and Monet, man? There's some tension in that family that you can slice with a butter knife. But anyway, comment below. Let me know what y'all thought about Power Book 2, Season 1, Episode 9, entitled Monster. Did y'all enjoy the episode? Are y'all ready for next episode? Like I said, man, comment below. Let your boy know. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like this video. Hit that notification bell. Once again, your boy gonna be putting the Cash App somewhere in this video. Don't feel obligated. Just support if you want. And yeah, enjoy your Sunday. Live life, y'all.